I'm here with Chris McMahon from Summit Realty Partners. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you, Steve.
Wonderful day outside, and it's a good reason to be out and about. And there's all types of optimism in the air. With the retail and all the other great stuff that's going on in the real estate industry.
Definitely pleased to be here, and it certainly is a nice stretch. It's good to finally be out of winter and start to enjoy some good weather.
That's absolutely right.
Yep.
So there's been a lot happening, and you and I were talking, offset here about the retail sector, and contrary to what some pundits would lead you to believe, there's actually a tremendous amount of positive news in the retail sector.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. And I mean, just a couple examples for you. We are seeing a lot of activity on the leasing front. Last year was our best year yet in terms of the number of leases that were signed and the amount of space that was leased. This year we're on a trajectory to beat that. And it just, it kind of blows me away sometimes when you read all these headlines and, everybody I bump into says, oh, you're in retail real estate. Are you guys, hurting? But I mean, it's just, yes, there are challenges out there, and there's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of businesses that, are antiquated and have not updated themselves,
sure,
and taken on too much debt.
And they'll go by the wayside.
Right.
And for every one that rolls over, there are probably 2 new ones that are created, or more.
It's opening opportunity. I mean, you look at some of these big stores, 50, 60,000 square feet, a developer like yourself comes in, chops them in half, chops them in 3, and they've got 2 or 3 unique concepts that, they've been dying for that real estate to open up so they can expand their business.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Summit Realty Partners for our audience. I mean, I'm certainly familiar with your group. You've been around for, I'm going to say, 20, 30 years at least.
Sure.
With Frank, great reputation. I know you guys do a lot of management and a lot of, commercial retail landlord representation,
right?
If that's correct. So give me a little insight, because I know you guys are just you're a great name in the industry. Whenever I think of Summit, I think of you guys. Obviously I have some retail properties I was telling you about, and you're sort of a known commodity in the retail brokerage sector.
Great, yeah. So Summit Realty Partners and Winslow Property Management, we're based in Lexington, Massachusetts, and right now we're overseeing almost 5 million square feet of space if you include our whole portfolio.
Wow.
And that really ranges from Maine down to Connecticut over to Vermont.
A lot of strip plazas and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of grocery anchored shopping centers, and then a lot of strip centers that are like really convenience oriented with your services and your restaurants and your coffee shops.
Yeah, well,
like
it's interesting, because that's such a great sector of the retail market. I mean, I think of right now there's I think it's a very exciting redevelopment property down where I live in Norwell. I don't know if you're familiar with Merchants Row. I actually tried to buy it, and unfortunately I didn't get it. And they've recently demolished all of the buildings that have been there literally since I was a kid, and probably well before I was a kid. In fact, I can remember going there. I can go down memory lane, and I won't. But they've recently demolished that because it was very tired. It was in need of being demolished. But they're creating one of those sort of outdoor type of retail shopping experiences, which is kind of the new thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've seen the lease plan for that. Some of the tenants that they're talking about bringing in, and that's what customers are looking for these days. They're looking for new. They're looking for unique. And so when you plan, a shopping center like that, I think it's really important to get the right architect, the right engineers on board that can help design, what the customers are looking for, and then obviously what the retailers are looking for.
So along those lines, let's talk specifically about how you can help, you personally and Summit. Okay, how do you help a landlord in terms of taking an asset and let's say he wants to sell. Let's say I want to sell my property. Okay, where is your value add?
Sure. So I mean, when you're looking to sell a property, it's all about the NOI, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You've got to get the NOI as high as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. So somebody buys it on a cap rate, market cap rate. So our value add I think is twofold. I mean, one, we can help you achieve that NOI by one, marketing the property really aggressively and going through all the appropriate channels.
And the benefit with you also is that you also know the sandbox. Okay, you're not going to say you can get this cap rate when in reality you can't, because you're not in that that market, or that NOI won't justify that cap rate in that particular market, and that comes through your expertise.
Right.
Yeah.
And in our contacts in capital markets and everything else, I mean, we're constantly seeing what things are selling for, what buyers are paying. But the big piece is trying to find the right tenants that buyers will find attractive, and try to get them to pay the most amount of rent that we can, but also keeping it within reason, so that way we can get the right tenant. And then I would say the second value add is we're also property management focused, so we can come in and say, hey, you got to paint that. Hey, you got to fix this. Like, that's all the things you need to do before you actually bring this property to market, either to try to find tenants or to find a buyer, because it's really important. I mean, first impression is really everything.
Absolutely. And I was hoping that you'd say that, because I assumed that, part of the value add that you bring to the table, your group does, is that, if a property is in need of, I call it a haircut and a shave. Okay. Let's get, let's get this thing cleaned up before we take it to market, because, that extra little amount of money that's spent giving it the haircut or the shave or both can, add exponential amount to the overall sale value.
Definitely.
So now I also know, among other things, you are very involved in the ICSC.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So
You've got some exciting news.
Yeah, very exciting news. Yeah. So I'm actually the chairman of the Boston show this year.
Yeah, heavy as the crown.
It's pretty heavy. But I have a great group of volunteers. We've got 40 volunteers that are on the committee that help plan everything. Yeah. And then we work closely with ICSC staff to really put it all together and market it and make the whole event happen.
Right. So, it's been a while since I've been to the ICSC. In fact, I think the last time was many years ago, and it was in Vegas, which I assume is either the central one or one of many. And then there are feeder submarkets.
Exactly. They have these regional shows. They're called conference and deal making shows. Yes. So you basically have one day of events. So we've got golf and a Boston City tour where we're going to check out a bunch of development sites around the city. And that's a city sponsored event. They want to show off some of these developments. Yeah. And then we'll have a party that night. Yeah. Then the next day it's all sessions. So we've got some great keynote speakers that are coming in.
Well, tell me a little bit about who you have.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. We've got John Alinto, one of the co-founders of Be Good, which is very relevant. Healthy, fast, casual eating establishment. And he's also got a new venture that he's going to be talking about. We have Steve Weichel, who's head of industry relations at the MIT School for Real Estate, which is going to be very exciting. He's going to be talking about innovation and technology in real estate. And then we have Chris Rondo, the CEO of Planet Fitness, who's also going to speak in the afternoon.
That'll be interesting. Yeah. I have two Planet Fitnesses as my tenants.
So, do you?
Yeah. In different properties, but that would be exciting to hear that.
Yeah, and they're an example of one of those tenants that they like when a big store vacates and a landlord can break it up for a couple different tenants, and they'll come in and they're totally relevant. So we're looking forward to that. And then I'll just add, some of the other sessions within there. We talk about, you go to these shows and there's so much programming. How valuable is it? Like, I truly think we're going to be very valuable this year. We have a panel of millennials talking about actual spending patterns that they personally see in their lives. Yep. We have a panel on breaking up the big box. We have a panel on women in commercial real estate. We've got 4 very well-known women in the industry that are going to be talking about their roles in real estate. So we've got some just incredible
a lot to talk about. Yeah. And especially what a dynamic time. For people to come to Boston, especially for those who, have been here only a few times or never. I mean, I'm always saying, unfortunately, I probably repeat myself, but Boston is such a dynamic city. I mean, I'm very proud to say I've been to all 50 states, most of them multiple times. I've really been able to get
impressive.
Yeah, I've been able to get a real cross section of the country, and I believe Boston is truly one of the most dynamic cities, and I love all of America. But I'm proud to be from here, and for people to come here and see what's going on in the Seaport District, in Cambridge, in the Back Bay, and the list just goes on and on and on. I mean, we have so many different submarkets, and whether it's commercial, residential. And then the retail, just the retail in the Seaport District alone. I mean, I can remember when, many years ago, people parked cars over there. I mean, and now it's a city unto itself. Yeah. And to see the growth, the restaurants and the new retail and all these, retail places that my kids know. I mean, I don't know
Right.
half of them, but my kids know them, and it's just so invigorating.
And that's why we're so happy the show's in Boston, because folks can come in from other parts of the country and they just have to go down to the Seaport and see, if you're questioning the state of retail and you want to see new development and new tenants that are opening, I mean, it's right there, right in front of your eyes for you to see and experience.
And I apologize, you may have said it, but when is it?
So it's July 16th through the 18th. At the Heinz Convention Center in Boston.
And can anybody attend?
Anybody can attend. Yeah, they have a member rate and a non-member rate, both reasonable. First day is activities, second day is programming, and then the third day is really about deal making. That's when everybody has their booths that are set up, and you can go around and meet with developers and tenants and brokers and really get a pulse for what's going on out there. So anybody that is curious in what's happening in shopping center, development in retail real estate, stop by
Or just development in general, because it's like any one of those conferences, and I know the ICSC, it's just there's a pulse there. It's just vibrant. It's fun. It's like you said, it's millennials. It's the who's who of retail and who's doing shaking and moving. It's just a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for sharing that and your insight and some knowledge on Summit Realty Partners. It's been a pleasure having you, and best of luck at the ICSC.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Steve.
Thank you.